Hey there, Star Wars Unlimited community. Couple of updates here. I have actually updated my channel. My channel was kind of focused more on general gaming and Magic the Gathering, and I don't really like playing Arena. I haven't really done that a lot, but Star Wars Unlimited has been a game ripe for exploration, and I am just really excited about this game. So I branded my channel and changed my name to Rebel Resource. Going to be focused mainly on Star Wars Unlimited news, content, deck techs, gameplay, leagues, competitive analysis. I think that this game has really got legs to be a really, really top tier game that competes with Flesh and Blood and Magic as some of the most popular competitive TCGs. Really excited. I hopefully plan to go to the Galactic Championship, which I believe is going to be early next year. I don't know all the details, but I do know that anyone can go to that. So it's going to be like an open enter, and there's probably going to be really cool prize support. So I'd love to build a community here. And then, as we go to these tournaments in the future, I can kind of vlog or do post analysis in those tournaments and things like that. Got my cup of coffee here since it's early morning. Great. So what I wanted to do is I kind of wanted to talk about my Sabine list. I think my most popular video on the channel right now is my claim that Sabine is going to be the best deck in season one of Star Wars Unlimited. Right now, the meta has shifted quite a bit. I'll switch to the league list here. So this is a league called Take the Initiative. It's just a casual league where competitive leaning players can play each other, and we have a Discord channel where you can get matched up with games. And after every month, at the end of every month, they're going to do a top cut of the top 8 or top 16. Probably going to be top 16 because right now we're shooting at 55 people. We'll see how large we get. But I'm currently ranked number 2 here. I went 7-1. I lost a game last night, which I want to talk about because I think I need to make an update to my Sabine list, which is really interesting. I thought my list was going to be pretty solidified right now, but I'm still learning. I won every single match I played. I played Boba matches. I played Iden blue, double blue. I played Iden green. I played Tarkin decks. I played Chirrut decks. And I was winning against all of them with some unique tech that I'm running, that the version of Sabine, it's kind of a surprise against people, which unfortunately in the top cut won't be a surprise because I have to submit my deck list, and I think it'll be public information, I think. But let's see here. Yeah, I actually lost to one game to Iden Green. I had really bad draws. It happens, right? You're going to lose. Everyone's going to have bad draws. And so right now I had the highest elo, but I lost the game last night. I think I was like 1,800 elo. I played less games than Hippo. Hippo's actually won a couple more here. I also missed out on the free points. So the way this works is every week you get 1 point for just playing a league match. It's to incentivize people who've already finished their 8 games to help other people finish their 8 games. And so it kind of gives you some extra points. So I should stay number 2 here for most of this. We have about, it's a leap year, so 14 days left in the month. Including today. So I have a close to an 80% win rate, right under Hippo. So if I win one more, I think I'll be tied with Hippo again with win rate. Tower number 9's doing pretty good here. He's 6-2. He's got 18-point potential along with me. Astrotech's doing really good with 5-1. So if he wins 2 more, he'll have the same record as me. So he'll probably outrank me, unfortunately, because I missed out on that free bonus point. You can see right there I have a 0. But I'm going to go through the list I used to get here. I played some top decks. The meta has shifted quite a bit because the Iden decks, Iden is playing like a life gain control style deck, and they use multiple types of bases for this. And the Boba decks are just getting destroyed because Boba plays really strong units. It's a pretty good foil against aggro because Boba is able to play these early and mid game units that can really trade it up. Where they don't trade, but I trade. I lose my unit, they keep theirs against aggro. And so Iden just shuts them down by removing everything valuable, and so they're dumping all the resources into high-cost units. Iden uses a 4-drop or a 3-drop to kill something, and then plays another card, and then Iden wins by dropping a Vader or playing a top-end Avenger or something like that in the meta. So let's shift to my version. I haven't played too many Boba lists yet. I did beat... I think I beat a red Boba. I didn't play the green Boba, which I think is the best version. Still pretty confident. My one loss was to an Iden deck, which I think I'm slated to win that. I just had a bad beats. Hey, I'm not gonna, take your loss and walk away. But I did lose against a post-league match after I had played my 8 games. You can keep playing to kind of do tiebreaker matches. And I lost against a mirror match against a Sabine list that was running the 30 life red base, double red aggression. And so that was tough. And I'm gonna kind of go through that after I go through my deck tech. So what I'm running here is, let's make my face a little smaller, my updated deck tech for Sabine. But this is probably going to change, but you'll notice a couple things. So first off, I am running Jeddah City. I think Jeddah City is absolutely amazing against control decks. It helps me win. It also helps me win against Leia, where I can shut down their units, and then I can attack in and kill their units. And if you can prevent Leia from having targets for her ability to get double attacks in, you can slow them down and prevent them. Their leader becomes like a non-leader for the first 4 turns of the game, because if you don't allow them to have multiple targets, you can completely shut down Leia. And that's how you beat Leia. That's why I think Leia is not as good as Sabine. Leia is really easy to counter. An aggro deck can counter Leia, let alone mid-range and aggro. Sabine only really needs 1 unit to push damage in. But we're gonna talk about this in a second, because I'm playing 2 copies of Rebel Assault off aspect. This card is so insane. It costs only 1, so it being off aspect is kind of negligible because it only raises the cost to 3. So it's still a low-costed card. It's only 1 more than Surprise Strike. There's only 3 non-rebels in the deck, and that's going to be your Falcon slot. Falcon's the best 3-drop in the game, probably undisputed. Best 3-drop space. I think Boba's probably the best 3-drop in ground for a unit. But Rebel Assault is just insane. It pushes 2 damage, so 1 damage less than Surprise Strike, but it lets you get in with multiple units. And against other decks, against every other deck, aggro, mid-range, and control, that's very good. Because if you have a Sabine out, your leader Sabine, and let's say you have a Dodonna, which is other friendly rebels get +1/+1, excuse me, that allows you to attack in if you have the initiative with Dodonna and Sabine with the Rebel Assault is 10. If those are the only 2 units on the board, you play that, that's 10 damage. A lot of times, if you play that, the turn you play that, that's immediately game over for a 25 life base. They are probably scooping. They're probably already at 15 life or 15 damage taken to base. It's over already. So that's really, really strong. But imagine this. Imagine it's not game. You get in for 10 damage. They only have a couple damage left on base to lose. And then they remove Dodonna, the next action. As you can see, if you'd have just attacked in with Sabine or Dodonna, they would have had a chance to counter that and remove it with their next action. Rebel Assault is basically playing Leia as your leader without playing Leia as your leader. You get Leia's effect plus a pump in an event. It's very strong. I think that this card is going to be played. Let's see if I can zoom in here. It's not really working too well. Interesting. This card is going to be played in I think I think it's going to be played in most aggro decks into the next couple sets. I think we're going to see this card even more popular. I think we're going to learn that manipulating actions is going to be one of the most powerful card game mechanic manipulations. Like if you can, like Fleet Lieutenant's amazing already. We already know that card's amazing. It adds 2 damage. This is basically another copy of Fleet Lieutenant. I've often said that Fleet Lieutenant is probably the best deck in Leia and Sabine, just because it provides a 3/3 body as well as an attack and 2 damage. It represents 5 damage on the turn you play it, because it's 3/3 itself, even though it can't attack, but it can attack with something else. Rebel Assault is just another version of it, but it is much stronger because imagine attacking with Fleet Lieutenant and a Dodonna with a Fleet Lieutenant buff. It's 2 extra attack, and so when you compare that to Surprise Strike, it's almost like this card is almost better than Surprise Strike, even off aspect. It's 1 more, it costs 1 more, it's 1 less damage, but it lets you get in with 2 units instead of 1. I think that's a very strong case that's equivalent to a Surprise Strike, if not better, in a Sabine or in a Jeddah City Cunning Sabine list. So it's very, very interesting. I'm playing also 2 copies of Chopper. I'm not sure about this. Chopper is a heroism unit, and it's a cunning, so it helps get your unit Sabine. A lot of times you can struggle to get your unit Sabine to have 3 aspects on board, so she can't be attacked. Chopper is another unit that basically helps get you to those 3 aspects. It's a 1-drop, and also that on-attack trigger is very relevant. It scares a lot of Bobas and a lot of Idens, because if you can tap down one of their resources with a lucky attack, that can often mean they can't play the removal spell. They have to play that turn, or the only card they could play that turn in hand. So they could basically, straight up skip their turn in a way. Very strong. And then when you have 3 copies of Sabine, 3 copies of Ezra, and your own leader Sabine, you essentially, this is not a 1-3, it's essentially a 2-3. Don't think of it as a 1-3 in this deck. When you're running 7 Spectres that you can play on turn 1, turn 2, and turn 3, because Sabine comes out on turn 3, it's a 2-3 in the deck. It just is. There's no other question about it. That's how I see this card. That's how I read this card. I think it's in this list, it's a mistake to say it's a 1-3. Yes, it can be attacked into, and they only take 1 damage, sure. But when you're aggro, you don't care about that. You care about how much you're attacking for, more than how much it does back in return when it's being attacked as a defender. So, couple highlights here. I have won many games out of nowhere. I actually played a double blue Iden deck in the league. I think it was against Kodal. He's a pretty, strong player. He played 3 copies of Vigilance, which I'll pull up right now. Vigilance. Can't type this morning. He played 3 copies and he healed 15 damage and killed 3 units. And I ended up winning. He gained, in the end of the game, he ended up gaining 27 life with a 30 life base. I did 57 damage with Sabine. 57. I think I ended up doing 60 because I killed him with a Rebel Assault and got in for 60. I did 60 damage in 1 game and still won. Rebel Assault got in for, I played both copies of Rebel Assault in that game, and I believe both times it was a red 3 on a A-Wing, and the other one was a Sabine and a Dodonna. So that was Sabine and Dodonna was 10. Red 3 with A-Wing was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That was 9. So in 2 actions, I did 19 damage. And as you can see, very strong when you have a strong board presence. So I think that this list is finely tuned right now. This is one area that I'm struggling with. The mirror match with Sabine. I lost against a double red aggression Sabine. So let's go take a look and see if I can find a Sabine list that's double red in the hot decks. There's Jeddah. There's mine. It's got 3 likes. Oops. Let's search. Uses Sabine. Bases. I think it was Kestro. Rebel Trader. Yeah, Yakos' list. It's not, his list isn't updated. I lost to the Kestro City Sabine, so they don't play Tarkenton on purpose because they win the mirror matches against me. Having that 5 extra life is very, very, very strong. This was League 0, so I think that this was a month ago that Yakos played this. Yakos could have won that league. He actually misplayed against Thork. He was playing Green Bow, or he was playing an Krennic deck. He didn't play Thork. He played someone else. But he got to the semifinals and lost because he misplayed. And he's told me in private chat that he's misplayed. This list is pretty much what they're playing. Basically, this is the card that gives me a problem. Benthic 2 Tubes. Because Sabine, my version of Sabine doesn't have a lot of ways to use events to remove his units. That on-attack trigger provides so much additional damage, it's ridiculous. And he plays he plays 6 1-drops. I play 5 right now. Lalea's a 1-drop, so technically, in a way, I play like 6 or 7. So I'm tied for 1-drops. But he doesn't play For a Cause I Believe In. He just doesn't care about it. He wants to be more unit driven, so he doesn't play any events that like do direct damage. So he plays 3 copies of Aggression for removal and readying up a unit, Rallying Cry to do extra damage, Keep Fighting to ready a unit, Precision Fire, Heroic Sacrifice, and 3 copies of Metal Ceremony. Because I think every card in the deck is a rebel. And the guy I played is actually probably going to play Rebel Assault now because he talked to me. He thinks that's good in this deck too, and he's going to cut something to play. I think he's going to cut Rallying Cry or Keep Fighting for Rebel Assault. He thinks it's probably a better card. So this deck, I know for a fact, is going to lose against Control. This deck has no way to recover, where Cunning Sabine has many ways to recover. By playing Dodonna or Falcon to get in haste damage. He has no way to really do haste unless he has like combos in his hand, which is a little cheeky to ask for all the time. Heroic Sacrifice, he's playing that instead of Surprise Strike. And the K2 Heroic Sacrifice is really, really strong. He did 9 damage to me in one. It took me from like 15 life or 16 life to game. Just really huge swings, and he does play Dodonna. So this list obviously is very, very similar. The only difference here is they're just a slightly more aggro because they play Metal Ceremony, which can be played on turn 2, turn 3 for free. And they also play Benthic 2 Tubes, which is, again, I think that this card just pushes just enough extra damage to beat me. And so Aggression can also remove stuff and ready up a unit. So then he is even, by removing one of my units and then readying up attacking again, they're able to push the damage even more. And I honestly don't know what to do against this deck. I think I'm just slated to lose. But they're slated to lose against, in my opinion, Boba, and they're slated because their sideboard tech is just not as good. Not having access to Cunning means that they don't really sideboard against other decks. They just don't have strong sideboard. The guy I played also plays 3 main deck copies of Wolf as well. They play Fang Fighter as well, but he doesn't have access to Waylay, Asteroid Sanctuary, which I think is key to beating Boba. So what do I think here? I think that the double red Sabine should be tested more with Rebel Assault. It could be better than this list. I'm not certain it's going to be better yet because their purpose, Tarkin Town is actually pretty bad because you can play around Tarkin Town where you just never have a valid target, right? So I think at the end of the day here, I'm going to test potentially taking out a Chopper or even 1 copy of Surprise Strike and putting in 1 or 2 copies of Benthic 2 Tubes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 valid targets for Benthic. And their list has... they're still playing Rebel Pathfinder. They're playing Fleet Lieutenant and General Dodonna, which are not, they're not red units. So Benthic, they're playing a similar amount of non-red. I am playing 3 copies of Falcon, which does slow that down a little bit. But I think if you draw Benthic late game, you just resource it. You don't play it probably, unless you can drop 2 cards with it, like you play a 4-drop and a 1-drop with 5 resources. That's totally valid as well. So I'm probably going to take out like a mid-range card or a Surprise Strike, which I think Surprise Strike is good, but there have been games where I draw like 2 copies of Surprise Strike and a Rebel Assault. Kind of feels like, you don't want to have that many events in Sabine because you're just not going to be able to use them all because your units are getting killed, so you need to like replace them. So long story short here, I need to edify this list to add in maybe 1 or 2 Benthics. I don't want to draw too many Benthics because then you're throwing off the math for a Cause I Believe In. Currently, there's only 3 cards in the deck I might have misspoke earlier. Yeah, Surprise Strike is the only non-heroism card in the deck. Let me just double check here. Yeah. So if I take out a Surprise Strike and put in a Benthic, I'm still staying at that high heroism ratio. In a lot of matchups too, you want to sideboard out your Foracaws because you end up sideboarding in Waylay or Asteroid Sanctuaries. So that's a legitimate reality. I've also thought about playing Bamboozle in the side, and I've had a lot of people talk about that because, let's see, is it Bamboozle? Yeah. You may discard a yellow card from your hand instead of paying the event's cost. So in a lot of circumstances, you can sacrifice cards that you can't even play anyways until mid-late game with Sabine because you're tapped out, and exhaust a unit and erase their upgrades. And so if you look, this Yakos deck is using lots of upgrades with Metal Ceremony, lots of upgrades with Wing Leader. So that can slow them down and remove all of their buffs. And that might be enough to just win by slowing them down. Waylay still seems stronger, but you have to tap out for Waylay. So I'm thinking to maintain tempo, you play, instead of one Waylay, maybe I take out an Asteroid Sanctuary, or actually Spark of Rebellion's been a pretty bad card, honestly. Maybe putting in 2 Bamboozles and taking out an Asteroid Sanctuary. 3 copies of Wolf is a must right now with Iden meta, so you have to play that. So I'm going to tweak my list. I need to have more options against more matchups. I even thought about like Rebel Assault's really good against this deck, the other Sabine deck, because I can take initiative and get in with a bunch of damage. So I thought about taking out Surprise Strikes. It's hard to win the race, and actually against Double Red Sabine, they're the aggro, I'm not. I actually need to shut down their units. And I think I can do that because I think my deck can do that, especially if I play slower and I play more with the experience with the Wing Leaders and, using my damage in my Jeddah City to shut down their unit so we don't trade. I think I actually end up being the semi-control there. And people say Sabine being the control isn't good, but if it's a Sabine mirror match, if I can shut them down a little bit and then still pump out stuff, then I can make up for that 5 damage difference. That's my goal, is I need it because they're playing Castro City. One thing to think about is maybe I should be playing Chopper Base instead. I'm just not sure about that right now. I'm really not sure. I think that Jeddah City is just so good against other decks. A lot of times having that 5 extra life is only really important in the mirror match. I win against Leia because of Jeddah City, so I'd prefer to keep it that way. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think about this list, what you think about my analysis. And if you guys have any suggestions in the comments of sideboard tech, what you guys think of the new channel name, and any suggestions, I'm actually thinking about doing an art analysis. I'm a huge Magic player, and I love the art in Magic, and I thought about doing reviewing the art of Star Wars Unlimited. I know a lot of people really like some art, some people really don't like some art, and I actually have a lot of thoughts on that. So I thought about making a video of the art of Star Wars Unlimited and criticizing some of it, talking about some of it in a positive light. I think some of the art is fantastic. So that I thought that would be a great video to do because I think that is going to be something a lot of people are interested in. But yeah, anyways, check out my Sabine list is public. I think it's under the name Snips. I think it's one of the top Sabine lists right now on SWDB. So go check that out and let me know what you think. Thanks for listening, and talk to you soon.